Hey there, this is Fred Posimo. I'm the host and producer of the Make Money and Have Fun show, where I'm sitting down every single week interviewing authors, speakers, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, investors, millionaires, billionaires, you name it. We're going live every single week, and you don't want to miss an episode. And one of the ways that I'm able to put this show on is through what I use to produce this show, which is Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest and fastest way to make a podcast out there. Let me explain. First of all, Anchor is absolutely free. They don't charge you a dime for anything on Anchor. So it's absolutely free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you. Check this out. This is so cool. It's one of my favorite things about Anchor. Anchor distributes your podcast to over half a dozen different places where podcasts can be listened to. So you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever your podcast platform of choice is, Anchor can most likely distribute it there for you. And you can also make money from your podcast on Anchor with no minimum listenership. It's everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So if you haven't already, download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. Once again, that's Anchor.fm, or download the app right on your phone. It's absolutely free, like we mentioned before. And if you want to start podcasting, if you have something to say, if you want to get started with your podcast, if you already have a podcast, this is the best and easiest and fastest option that I would recommend to anybody. Download the Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Make Money and Have Fun show. Today is a super, super cool day. Number one, my guest. This is a guy who I've been trying to have on this show for forever, Chris Naugle. He's going to be talking to us about money-making secrets, about understanding the mysteries of the millionaires out there. But this might be equally as cool, or maybe even cooler. I actually have a bunch of giveaways today for after the show. So after the show, I'm giving away a month of my mastermind, a couple cool books, all kinds of cool stuff. Listen, I'm going to tell you more about it in a second, but if you're interested in being a part of it and you're not a part of it yet, click on the link in the description. You'll see right at the top, there's a link, and you fill out a quick form. Once you fill it out, you are registered. You're in, you're ready to go. I'll make sure I get you in there. But in the meantime, let's get ready to make some money and have some fun.
My motto in life is make money and have fun. I'm on a mission to show everyone how to make money, and have fun. I'm all about making money and having fun.
You know what we do on this show. We talk about two things every single week: making money and having fun. This week, we're probably going to hit a little bit more money than all of the other stuff. So let me talk about my guest today. So Chris Naugle. Chris has dedicated his life to being America's number one money mentor. That's right. It's not me. I'm not the number one money mentor. It's Chris Naugle. His success includes managing over $30 million in assets in the financial services and advisory industry. This is such a fun conversation. We're going to get into financial advisors, the do's, the don'ts, the rights, the wrongs, because Chris has seen both sides. And he's advisory industry and tens of millions of dollars in the real estate business as well, with over 200 transactions. And check this out, an HGTV pilot show. This dude's like partially famous, basically, at this point. He might even be more famous than me, and I don't even think he owns a red jacket. In 20 years, Chris has built and owned 16 companies, with his business being featured in Forbes, ABC, and House Hunters. He's currently the co-founder and CEO of Flip Out Academy. What a cool name, Chris. I love that. Flip Out Academy, founder of the Money School, and money mentor for the Money Multiplier. So please help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Chris Naugle. What's up, Chris?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on. I do actually have a red jacket. I brought that thing.
Dude, oh man, we should have coordinated this better. I love it. That's hysterical. Dude, I'm so excited to have you here, man. This is awesome stuff.
Excited to be here.
You got so much stuff going on. I know at one point you were a professional snowboarder, then you went into the financial advisory background. So give us kind of like a quick little background on your story, who you are, and what you do.
Sure. I grew up in a lower middle class family. Mom pretty much raised me. It was a big struggle for her because she was always struggling on the money side of things. And dad really wasn't so much in the picture and my upbringing. But, the one thing I always did, my mom taught me to dream big. And anything I wanted, whether it was a dirt bike, a skateboard, I would dream it, materialize it, and then it would always happen. And it wasn't because somebody just handed me money. And that kind of took me all the way into my teens when I got a big boy job at a restaurant. I hated it. I was degraded so badly that one day I quit. I came home and said, Mom, I'm going to create a clothing line. Can I use the basement? So I started my first company, Fat Clothing Company, at the age of 16. And really the whole idea of that clothing line was I just needed to make enough money to be able to travel on the snowboard circuit and ride the competitions. That was the only focus. So if I could take my shirts, my hats to school, sell them out of my backpack to make enough to snowboard, it was a fulfilling prophecy of my dream, which was at that time to be a pro snowboarder. Well, a lot of things happened and I did become a pro snowboarder. That clothing line turned into a chain of snowboard shops called Fat Man Board Shops. They're actually still around today. I don't own them. I sold them off in 10, but kind of a cool story. And that all started back then, but life was kind of going, sometimes in life we hit our stride and we're doing everything we want. And then the early 2000s hit when the .com crash happened. At that point, my whole life was spun around. I was highly leveraged with my shops, doing everything I wanted to, but the money wasn't there. I had to get a job. And I ended up landing in Wall Street, of all places. How does a professional snowboarder running skateboard and snowboard shops land in Wall Street? Well, they liked my resume, and I did it thinking this is just a temporary thing, and then I'm just going to get back to my shops. But I ended up being really good at it and loving it. And I became one of the top advisors, and things were cruising along. I was making a lot of money as an advisor, still doing the stores, still snowboarding. And then in the mid 2000s, 6 and 7, I had flipped a couple houses. I had to give my shot at that. I saw it on TV. I'm like, wait a second, you can flip a house in 23 minutes? Sign me up. I'm totally kidding, but that's what I did. And then
have to account for 2 commercial breaks in between. Don't worry. That's where everything goes wrong.
Absolutely. And 2008 came along. I bought a dilapidated paint store to move my shop into and convert it into a strip mall. And you guys know what happened in 08, right? The Great Recession.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that thing hit me like a Mack truck, and it took me down to my knees and then some. And I remember one night I was so down. I had one more month's payment to pay this hard money lender. And I came home to my girlfriend who just moved in, and I said, sweetie, I need your help. Now, this isn't something I suggest any of you do if you're like down in your luck, needing money, and you got a girl living with you that you really like. But this is what I had to do. I said, sweetie, I need your help paying the mortgage. I need your help paying the utilities. And my friend Pete's going to move into that bedroom down the hall. And I had about a 50-50 shot of her sticking around or leaving. And That was it. So I made it through 08. Barely. And then 2009 to 14, I bought a lot of real estate. And then 2014, I ended up losing it all. Okay. I just made some bad moves. The bank froze my lines of credit. I had not yet learned how to be in control of my money. So the bank was always in control. And that was it. Sold all 36 units that I had built up from 9 to 14. And that marked the lowest point of my life. And we've all had those points where you think you're at the bottom. I know we were talking about it a little bit. And when we hit those points where we're at that low point, we're willing to accept and we're willing to realize that we don't know what we don't know. And I ended up learning this at a 3-day real estate seminar where I met 2 people, extremely successful guys, and I heard them talking about money, and it was the complete opposite of every single thing that I had learned in 14 years. And these were the wealthy guys, and I was supposed to be dealing with the wealthy guys as an advisor, but there was a disconnect. I'm like, they're doing this, and we're taught to do that. Why aren't we doing this? And I went down that rabbit hole over the next few years, actually right up to today. I mean, I never will stop learning. And I have studied extensively the patterns of the wealthy, the secrets of the wealthy, and what they do with money that's different than what we do. And that's what I teach today.
I love that. I love that so much. I love hearing it's interesting for me because, I've brought a lot of really successful people on this show. I have a good friend of mine, Tim Bratz, was on this show. He's got $300 million in assets under management. He buys, big boys. Everything is 200 units plus and stuff like that. And he told a story on this show where he had to pay $1.27 for gasoline in his car because things got so low. And I always share my own personal story. I was in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I woke up and checked my bank account on my phone and realized that I had $57 in my bank account and to my name. And like you said, I love what you brought up. It's, when we reach that point where our back is against the wall, for me, I had two thoughts. I said, I can sit here and complain about this and say, woe is me, my life sucks, everything's over now. Or I can say, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. And I'm going to climb out of this mess that I created for myself. Because for you and me, it was very similar. I had a little bit less units than you did, but it was the same thing. I built up real estate, did a lot of stuff right, did a lot of stuff wrong, and had a series of Murphy's Law hit me in like a 3-month window. It was everything that could have went wrong in a very short period of time. And I'm like, okay, great. Looks like I'm liquidating.
Fred, we got to find that Murphy guy. I'll tell you, he needs to be taken to a dark alley and.
Yeah, something's got to go on with him, man. Like, the roof started leaking, the boiler went. I had, 3 out of whatever, tenants in one of my buildings weren't paying anymore. And then, you got to go to court and you got to this and you got to that. And literally I got to the point where I was calling banks left and right on the phone because I'm like, I got to refinance to get out of this. And I finally got to the point where I called the bank and I said, hey, I want to refinance. And they go, okay, great. And before they could ask me the questionnaire, I go, look, my DTI is trashed. My credit is ruined. I have no cash reserves. And literally, I'm not going to hit any of the qualifications that you need. But if we do this, I can pay you on the back end based on the value of the assets. Can we make this work? And of course, I got a lot of no's until I finally got one yes. And I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Wait, a bank gave you a yes on that?
It was a very small bank. It was wow. It was more of a personal deal in a sense. And I think they really sliced me up on like closing costs and stuff like that, looking back, which I was fine with because I'm like, I gotta climb out of this thing and make it work. And, finally I did and kind of got my head back above water. And then I put the whole real estate thing on the side and I started doing this make money and have fun thing. And now here we are.
I love it, man. It's interesting because you're absolutely right about like Murphy's Law. In those times I saved you the details, but in those hard times, the early 2000s, then 2008 through, 10, I would say. And then the 2014 for me, it's like, I can sit there and say, yeah, I bounced out of those, but like what people will never know is the hell I went through when I was at that bottom. I mean, you hit such a self-loathing point, if that's the right word, of just telling yourself, you're terrible, you suck, you can't do anything right. And I was there, man. I was so down. I was just blaming everything else, everybody else. I couldn't take responsibility that I made the mistake. And I was in that position because I had to be in that position so I could learn. And that's the most important thing. Every failure is a learning lesson. But when you're in that failing state, when you're in that low point, it doesn't feel like you're learning anything. You feel like you're being punished. And maybe you are. Maybe the punishment is what's needed to get you to learn the lessons you need to know to get to that next level. Everything in life happens for a reason, and you just need to accept that. And the only way to fail, the only way to truly fail in life is to quit. Yep. There is no other way to fail. Don't even try to tell me there is, because you're wrong. I'm right. Failure is a decision, and quitting is the only way it can happen.
Exactly. Mic drop. Show's over. That's it, people. Let's all go home. See you guys.
We're done. We're not even going to talk about any of this money.
Nah, they don't need any of that. Dude, it's amazing hearing you say that. It's so cool. I always love hearing the downturn, right? It's cool to talk about the millions that you made and the best deal you ever did and the big mansion and the fancy cars or the lavish vacations or whatever. But I want to hear about the downtimes. I want to hear about that time where it was so bad. I mean, for me, I got scared when you told me you had to go to your girlfriend to say that, because my girlfriend keeps threatening me. She's like, you ain't living with me if we ain't paying rent together. I'm like, I got this. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, crap, I'm an entrepreneur. Things change. This happens, that happens. I hope I never have to have that conversation. But like you said, I would have given you more like a 90-10 chance that she walks instead of 50-50. But
I'm an eternal optimist, so
that works too, man. So, dude, we got to talk about when you finally got onto Wall Street. This is one of my favorite topics, and I think it is yours too, because the passion starts to come out when we turn the coin over on financial advisors. So let me kind of pre-frame this. I think, and you can throw in your opinion here, Chris, I think we live in a society where consumers are mystified by the amount of letters after somebody's name. And a lot of people go out and they have like this like certification like craze where they're like, I want to be an insurance broker and a real estate agent and a financial advisor and this and that and da 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 da. And people who are consumers will oftentimes place these people on a pedestal and think that, oh, they must have everything figured out. And what we've learned about money is that that's not always the case. Where do you kind of fall in on that mindset, that thought, that idea with it?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, the names, the titles, like we live in a society where everything has to have a title, where title doesn't mean anything. Only thing that matters in any business, I don't care what business you're in, the only thing that will ever matter is, are you solving somebody's problem? Forget about you. Forget about what you make. Forget about what you have. You can't be successful. Maybe you get a lucky strike, like where you're doing okay, but you cannot be successful unless you are absolutely focused on solving other people's problems. So let's go back to what you were saying. Here's the whole sum up to all the designations, the titles. And believe me, when I was an advisor, I had all those numbers, all those letters, maybe not every one, but I had a lot of them. And I was always trying to add on to them because I thought one more letter, one more number gives me the ability to work with a different client. What I was missing is everything, because the whole time, and listen, folks, it wasn't just me. It's all of you. It's all of us. We are brought up in a society where we are literally taught and trained very well to give up control of our money. Everything we've been taught from a very young age to where we are, in life, and all of us are different ages, we've been taught one thing. When you make money like I'm holding here. I'm holding a bunch of hundreds. What do we do with this? We're all excited. We just made all this money. Oh my God, that was such a huge sale. I sold the event out. And what do we do with it? We take it and we deposit it in a traditional bank. And right there, we just think of course that's what we do, Chris. And that's probably what you do. Well, yes, but you see, I changed one thing because I learned what the wealthy did with money, and that wasn't what they did. They didn't store their capital in somebody else's bank. They changed just one thing. And what they did is they took back control of their money by changing where the money went first. Not where it went after, where it went first. Because we all know that when we make money, we deposit it in the bank, then we pay our bills, pay all the debtors, make those credit card payments, those car loan payments. We know where the money goes. 90 cents of every dollar you make goes to somebody else. You get to keep 10%. But where you leave or put that 10%, that's up to you. The wealthy don't like putting it in banks because the bank is in control. The bank holds all the cards, and the bank, most importantly, takes your money, moves it, and makes a whole lot. How much? Some people always say, well, how much does the bank actually make? Because, they're paying me 1% and I can get a loan for 2%. What are they making? 1%? They can keep the 1%. No, folks, they're making 400 to 1,300% more than you are. That should wake you up. And that is a fact. Bauer Financial. Go look at it. So why are we taught to give up control to Wall Street, to banks? Therein lies the magic question.
I love that. And I'm very familiar with this concept. I've listened to Brent, speak about this. I actually have, different policies with him and stuff like that. But it's so fascinating kind of going behind that curtain and looking behind it and saying, wow, I've really in many ways been fed a lie about this money stuff. What was kind of, I guess, your first forte into learning about this money multiplier technique that you're talking about? What was that like for you?
Well, it's embarrassing, actually, because remember, I was a high-level financial advisor.
Sure.
I knew all about, and just so what we're going to talk about to get the monkey off our back is what we're talking about is called privatized banking, and the concept of how we move our money is called the infinite banking concept. This is not something new, folks. If you haven't heard about it, well, it's because Nobody's told you about it. It's been around for maybe a couple 100 years. That's right. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Walt Disneys, the Ray Krocs, they all used it, but yet you don't. And what is it? It is whole life insurance, but not regular whole life insurance. Everybody thinks that there's only one kind, right? So, you're going to go get a cheeseburger. Is there only one kind of cheeseburger? No, whatever. I don't eat meat. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of cheeseburgers, and there's a whole bunch of different ways a whole life policy can be used. So what we did is we had to figure out, how do the banks use whole life? Because they are the number one purchasers of whole life in this country and probably in the world. I mean, Bank of America, I think I just saw, has $17 billion in whole life insurance. JP Morgan and Chase also have like high teens of billions, like 10 or 13 billion. Sorry, the numbers aren't right there. Why are banks putting all their money in whole life insurance, but yet your whole life, you've been taught that whole life's a terrible place to put your money. The Dave Ramseys and Susie Orman said whole life's terrible. And just so everybody knows, I love Dave Ramsey. Just don't like his viewpoint on things because he's a bit arrogant. But we'll get to Dave Ramsey another time. So it's just, why are the banks doing the exact opposite of everything you've been told to do your whole life? It's because they're smart, folks. They've learned how this works. And because the reason you haven't learned about what we're going to talk about, privatized banking, is because there's no money in it. When I was an advisor for 16 years, never once was I taught about this. Never once did my consultants, the high-level guys from corporate, never once did they come down and say, hey, we're going to sit you guys down and we're going to show you something that the wealthy do with their money so you can share this knowledge with your clients and change their financial lives. And here's what it is. Boom, boom, boom. That you take a specially designed whole life, you use it as a banking instrument, you take money out, you put money in. We'll cover that whole circle in a moment, but not once. Why? Easy answer. To do privatized banking, an advisor or an agent or whatever you want to call them, your broke-ass brother-in-law, Bob, okay, whatever, that's one from Brent. I had to do it. But Bob doesn't know how to do that. So if you went to Bob and said, hey, I want one of those banking whole lives, he isn't going to know how to do it, but he's not going to tell you that because he wants his commission. To do what we do, that agent, that advisor has to give up 60 to 90% of their income. Now, think about that. If you were a financial advisor, would you be okay doing something for your client because it's good for them, but you got 60 to 90% less? Would you take a pay cut for 60 to 90% to help someone else? Literally.
Yeah, probably not.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, like if I had to look at myself in the mirror before I knew what I know now and say that, I'd probably say, man, I just don't think I could do it. And that's the reason why you haven't heard about it, folks. Sure. Somebody's got to give so that you can get. And that's a tough proposition today because we live in a me world. We don't live in a we world. We live in me, my cars, my houses, my money. Not, let me show you how to get a nicer house. Let me show you how to take care of your family. Let me show you how to make your money work for you and help your life be better. And then when I do that, I will have a better life. That's not the world we live in.
Exactly. I remember I was at a seminar and they were talking about self-directed IRAs, which is another like elusive concept. You know, you get and look, see, like we're already going down this rabbit hole of like, I just want to grab these people by the lapels and shake them. And the guy teaching the seminar was like, you know, I learned about self-directed IRAs on my own. And then I called my accountant up and I'm like, hey, how come you never told me about this? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, okay, you're fired. And, you know, it's just those interesting things where it's either A, your advisor never heard of it and has no clue what you're talking about, or B, there's such a drastic cut in their pay or you know, just loss that they would take to actually teach it that it's not worth their time to go around doing it. Because, I mean, you know, think about like you were a financial advisor, your full-time income relied on, you know, you providing, right? So that you didn't have to go to your girlfriend again and say, hey, sweetie, I need, you know, half the rent money this month, but I got you next month. Don't worry, you know, because you're doing this charity work, changing other people's lives. You know, it's that balancing act. And so it's so cool that, you know, you've kind of come over that hump in a sense.
It didn't just happen either. It didn't just like,
sure.
You know what it was that got me where I'm at today, to actually see the light. And this isn't going to happen for everybody. I was around I made it my mission to be around multimillionaires and billionaires. And what I found when I was around them is they were all doing this. And I started thinking, like, if he's doing this and he's doing this and he's doing this, and this guy couldn't even understand how I didn't know about this, like, why are all these guys doing this if everybody else is saying this is a scam, this isn't good, there's no way that can work? A disconnect, folks.
Yep.
You've been lied to your whole life about money, and it's time to wake up and take back control of your money. That moment is when I woke up and I said, you know what? There is something to this. And I started using it, and it changed my life. Then I started teaching people, and it changed their lives. And then that's how it all happens, folks. It really does.
Exactly. For me, I mean, just having this show and bringing people on here, like, I'm learning half the time. And I'm like, this person's my friend. I know this guy, like, you know, but they're playing the game at such a big level that it starts to just rub off. You know, it's like that power of your 5 closest friends can happen by accident. You know, you're the sum of your 5 closest friends. Even if you don't know it's happening, you're like, crap, I'm making all this money. What's going on?
Totally agree.
So this is such a cool platform that we're on, because people can actually give us live comments. And Mandy's been in here just, you know, singing our praises, but she asked a question. She said, can I spend just one day on your shoulder, Chris, immersed in your wisdom?
Well, the answer is yeah. I mean, I give away my best stuff for free. So every week we do a free webinar. It was yesterday. So it's called the Wealth Webinar Series. Anyone can join. They just register, 0 cost. And you can learn every week something new: self-directed IRAs, privatized banking, how to get all the money back for every single car you're ever going to buy, drive, and own by changing just one thing. Like, all this stuff. We teach it every week. So sure, you don't have to get on my back, because, you know, I go to the gym, but I don't know if I could carry somebody an entire day. But you can certainly join me for all of my free events and learn as much as you want. Heck, we're teaching options, not like what our friend does, but I didn't know if I was going to use his name on here, but we do options, you know, training for free. We're teaching people how to do that, but more on the hedging side, and that's this weekend. So sure, you want to learn? Jump on.
Sweet. I love it, man. So Chris, we're kind of coming close here on a bit of time, but we got some cool stuff going on, and I just want to remind everybody out there who's hanging out with us. So today I got not 1, not 2, but 3 giveaways. So the first thing is, for those of you that don't know, I run a mastermind every single week, and I'm giving away not 1 week, but actually 4 weeks, a month in this mastermind. It's a $500 value. All you got to do is, if you look in the description, you'll see a jot form right at the top. Just fill that out real quick. I'll throw your name into the list. And right after the show, we're going to do a little spin-a-rooney, have some fun on there, and we'll see who wins. Secondly, I had my good friend Austin Haynes on here last week, and he sent me his book. And he's like, Fred, I want you to give this book away next week to one of your guests. So I'm like, all right, I'll do 2 giveaways. Hey, Chris, you got anything for our guests out there? You want to give them anything?
Oh, man, I got lots of stuff. So
you think they deserve anything from you?
Yeah, I got to one up the one book. So how about if somebody's giving one book away? How about I mail you 2? I'll mail you my book that I did with Brent Kessler, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. I'll give you the Private Money Guide. Ooh. And then I'll even throw in a bonus for whoever wins it. And this is our brochure. This tells all those stories about what it was like being a pro snowboarder, and all some really cool stuff. So I'll send all 3 of those up to you.
Nice. That's awesome. So we got, I don't even know what this is. This is like 6 giveaways or something like that. We got all kinds of stuff that we're giving away. So if you're not already registered, you can't win. So just click on that link down below, fill out the form real quick. I'll see it pop on. I'll add your name onto the list. Easy peasy. Right after this show, we're getting that giveaway going. So Chris, I got to ask you, what has changed the most in your life just from adding this one technique, this one new thing? What's really been the biggest turnaround moment for you?
The biggest turnaround moment was when I learned that my money had to be in motion. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing today is, you know, I keep very little money in a regular traditional bank, and I keep all my money in my own bank. So BYOB is what my hat says, be your own bank. I got it all in there. And when it's there, I get cold sweats if that money's just sitting, because money just sitting is lazy. It's like coming home, looking over on your couch, and your money is sitting there eating potato chips and soda while you were working. Like, that can't happen. My money's got to go to work. So I just love taking my money and moving it. Private investments, private loans, real estate. There's so many different ways you can do it. And that was the point where everything changed, when I said, wait, and banks move money. Now I'm moving money. I'm doing this the right way. And that was it.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the funniest things is that I actually put a post up on Facebook yesterday, and I said that the name of the game is not to generate cash. It's to turn your cash into cash flow. And it's like, it's this funny thing where I'm always, running business projections in my head because I'm an entrepreneur. What else do we do? Right. My girlfriend hates it. She's like, what are you thinking about right now? I'm like, oh, if I can move this at this price and then this many people buy. And she's like, you're such a nerd. Anyway, I'm always thinking about if I made whatever, X amount of dollars, $100,000 doing X, Y, and Z, what would I do with that? And the first thing I do is I turn it into an income. I'm like, I'd rather have $10,000 a month coming in than $100,000 just sitting in a bank account doing nothing for me. So that's absolutely 100% on the way.
I love how you said that because, that right there sums up it all. I mean, imagine if somebody had money and they didn't know what to do with it, but then they had debt. Well, one thing they would think, let's pay the debt off. Let's take the money I'm holding in my bank and let's pay my debt off. And they stop right there. You have literally just defied the velocity of money. But now what if you just took that money and instead of paying off the credit card first, you changed one thing and you put that money, let's just talk into privatized banking. Now, all of a sudden, that money now is returned, getting a higher return, 4% guarantee, uninterrupted compound interest. Then we take that money and let's just say we put it into a private investment paying 12%. We take the 12% and we use that to pay the credit card down, or take the money from that private bank, pay the credit card down or totally off, take the amount you were writing a check to Visa for every month, and then change the name on the check to you. You literally just, without working any harder, any longer, you just made money twice. You made uninterrupted compound interest on that specially designed whole life, and then you took back the money you were giving away to Visa. Most of us are paying between 16 and 20% to Visa. That's the easiest 20% you can ever make, but that's just making your money work for you. But you haven't been taught that. You've only been taught how to work for money.
Absolutely. Chris, quick question. What are your thoughts on debt?
On debt?
On debt.
Oh, okay. Debt. It's like a lot of people think it's a swear word. I love debt. Okay. But the right kind of debt, credit cards, car loans, things like that, bad debt. Mortgages on a rental property, good debt. You have to understand what a good asset is and a bad asset, or a good debt and a bad debt. A lot of people still believe their house is an asset. It is not. It's a liability. It always will be until you rent your attic out or your basement out and start turning a cash flow. I mean, that's the most important thing to learn right there, is good debt from bad debt.
Exactly. And for me, I even take it one step further, and I look at it as good debt users and bad debt users, because technically the debt is neutral, right? The debt doesn't really have a good piece to it or a bad piece. It's just how we're utilizing that debt that determines whether or not we're getting a return off of it, or if we're just sinking money into it, in a sense.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to use debt to make your life better, but then a lot of people they blur the lines and they think that using a credit card to then go buy something they think is going to be a good investment. That's a terrible way to do it. You have to determine what kind of debt and how to use debt before you really should just dive in thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to start using debt. That would go very bad. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a fun experiment. So I put this post up on Facebook years ago. And I said, hey, you just won $10 million in the lottery. What's the first thing you do with the money? And I'm sure you can guess what pretty much everybody said. This was before I changed my circles. This was my old set of friends. Everybody said the same thing. I'm going to bring it to zero as quickly as I can. Right? Paying off the house, the cars, the kids' colleges, the this, the that, just expense, and nothing actually coming in with it. So Chris, let me ask you the same question. You just won $10 million in the lottery because you're a big lottery goer now. What's the first thing that you would do with the money?
Well, first thing, I'd find a way to get it out of the bank and into something where it's going to earn an uninterrupted compound interest. Then after that, I would take that money and I would figure out how to position that money so that it's all working for me, so that it's all creating an income. And then I would take a portion of that income. This is the most important thing, folks, so listen closely. I would take a portion of that income and I would give it away to a charity or to a good cause. That's what I would do with it.
Amazing. I love that so much. So Mandy said that this stuff that we're talking about should be taught in schools. Mm-hmm. Man, Chris, why do you think that money isn't taught in schools right now?
Schools are a fixed game. I mean, they don't want you to be in control of your money. So if the all-seeing eye, if you will, which if you don't think it has a hand in schooling, it doesn't want you to be in control of your money because it's bad for bank business, it's bad for Wall Street business, then they're not going to teach you how to be in control. Why have you never learned in school how to do a budget? Why haven't you learned what stocks, bonds, and ETFs are? Why haven't you learned the things that we're talking about? Because they don't want you to know that, because God forbid you ever go out there and you actually start creating your own financial life instead of conforming to what they tell you your life should be. Oh, now we got a real problem. And then all of a sudden you teach people how to be in control of their money so that they can be their own bank and not have to need the bank's money, not have to put their money in Wall Street and take unnecessary risks. You've just crashed the entire system, like, you silly goose. Like, you can't learn that. Go get a job, work a job, get your W-2 income, pay your taxes, and be happy. Sit down, shut up, and don't ask any more questions.
I love it. I love it. So I want to connect this bridge here. So as you know, this is the Make Money and the Have Fun show. So I always talk to people about creating full alignment. And full alignment is basically just this place where you're doing what you love and you're making your desired amount of income with that. For people like you and me, that's $100,000 a month or more. For other people, it might be, 10, 15, 25 grand a month, whatever their financial threshold is. So I love that you just brought up the school system's kind of mentality of going out and getting a job. Do you think that all jobs are bad, Chris?
No, absolutely not. I think most are good. I think it's a mindset problem when someone thinks their job is bad. You should never be going to work because you think you have to. You should always go to work to do something better for someone else and for yourself. Like, I don't care how crappy your job is. You might be cleaning sewers. Go to work because you're solving a problem for someone, and always focus on the one positive and go to work every day to do your job the best way you can. You do that in somebody else's company as an employee, you will do that 10 times better as an entrepreneur. You see, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, or however they say that. Whatever you do at a job, okay, is what you're going to do in a business.
I love that. Because a lot of people, when I talk to them about full alignment, about making money and having fun, they think that it's pro entrepreneurship, or it's anti school, or it's whatever, but it's not. It's this idea of figuring out you and putting the square pegs in the square holes and the round pegs in the round holes, and then completing this full picture. Because every entrepreneur needs employees, every coach needs team players, and it's all this symbiotic relationship with it. How important do you think it is for people to not only find, the financial peace that they want in their life, but in addition, the fulfillment that they want in their life as well?
Well, let me sum it up this way. I think the most important thing everybody could do is, when you're going to do anything, a job, a business, some type of an opportunity comes up, don't ever just look at the opportunity and say, okay, this is going to do this. Start with the end in mind. And here's the exercise that a mentor told me. Figure out what your perfect day looks like. So does anyone watching this know what your perfect day looks like? If you woke up in the morning, took your first breath, and everything was exactly what you'd want it to be, the breeze off the ocean is coming in, you smell salt and just beautiful oils, you're in white linen sheets, and you're next to the perfect person, and your perfect kitty cat's at the end of the bed. Sorry, I like cats. And you go through your entire day, and you could spell out exactly what would make that day perfect from the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep. Now, what you would have is a novel when you're done, but you all should do this, because once you do that, you know what you're working toward. If you could live that perfect day every day, and then you just reverse engineer it, you find out how many hours you got to work at your job and how much hustle you got to do after that. You find out how hard your money's got to work. You could piece together how to get there, but nobody does that. People just go day in and day out and working kind of just for what? To pay their bills? Just to get by? That's what they've been taught to do. Nobody starts with the end. Stop focusing on like the have-tos today and start focusing on where you're going, and you get there a lot quicker.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's really where I help people all the time. It's just this idea of finding the destination. And I always tell them that the path might change, right? I'm not here to walk you down the path with it, but if we can find the destination and we make sure that you're heading towards it, then you're 99% better than 99% of the other people out there in a sense. And it's so amazing just to see that. I am so truly grateful to have you here, Chris. And I'm so thankful for all these people jumping in on the comments. I mean, we literally have so many comments, so many people. I don't know if they want to hang out with you or with me or with both of us, but I can't even keep up. So here's the thing. For those of you that are with us, show us some love, give us some hearts, give us some likes. right? Put some comments down there. We can actually bring up your comments. If you have questions for me or for Chris, ask them in there. We got a few minutes left, and we got a giveaway today. This is like a super special day. This is all kinds of crazy stuff going on. If you haven't already registered for the giveaway, check that description right down there. There's a quick jot form to fill it out. Fill it out. You'll be in. You'll be good to go. And we'll get you in on the giveaway. Chris is giving away like 6 or 7 books. I don't even know. He's probably giving away his house and his car at this point.
I should just give away some hundreds here. So maybe I'll throw some hundreds in for you.
I love it. Austin Haynes is giving away his book from last week, his co-authorship Flashpoint that he did. And I am actually giving away a month in my mastermind, 1 free month to 1 lucky winner. So make sure you register for that. On that note, before we go, Chris, how can people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to you if they have questions or, if they just want to say, hey?
Yeah, it's super easy to just go to Chris Naugle. It's NAUGLE.com. And everything's on there, from all my training videos to how to schedule an appointment. You can't do an appointment unless you watch a 90-minute video. That's the gateway. But everything you need is in there. Or you could send, if you want the registration for our free webinars and all of our free events, just email chris@themoneymultiplier.com, and I'll send you the links for all the free events. So that's the best way. And also check me out on YouTube. I put all my best stuff on YouTube just for you guys, and that's at the Chris Naugle.
Excellent, man. So you got all kinds of cool ways for people to interact. They can email you, they can go right to your website, or they can actually check you out on YouTube as well. So Chris, before we do our little giveaway, what words of wisdom, encouragement, or advice, or just anything that you would want to leave us with today, what would you say to our audience today?
Well, I'm going to steal one from Will Rogers because I think it's one of the most profound things I've ever heard. And Will Rogers said this. He said, the biggest problem in America is not what people don't know. The biggest problem in America is what people think they know that just ain't so. You all need to check your surroundings and the people you hang out with. If they're not elevating you to a higher level and th're trying to hold you back, tell you shouldn't do something, tell you can't do something, change the circle. That's exactly what Will Rogers was saying. People that don't know what they don't know are the people you need to put in timeout.
I love that. So Mandy said we both have such great smiles. I needed to bring that up. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that, Mandy. And then Kirsten actually had a fantastic question. Kirsten said, what places do you suggest we find uninterrupted compound interest like you've been talking about?
Very simple. Go to my website, chrisnaugle.com, go to free resources, watch the 90-minute video, and you have just unlocked one of the largest secrets of the wealthy, and that will be the ticket on how you can get uninterrupted compound interest. And then from there, we can help you any way you need. Boom.
I love that. Chris, this has been amazing, man. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you. You want to jump into this giveaway with me?
Heck yeah, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So here is the deal. For those of you that are still hanging out with us, I'm actually going to share my screen here. So I have a really cool, let me see, really cool spin-a-rooney going on right over here. Check this thing out. So it's got my logo in the middle, and as you can see, it's got 18 people right on here. I'm going to show you how this works. So what I have is a Excel spreadsheet that has everybody's name who registered on here, and they're listed 2 through 18, right? So whatever number it lands on, I'm going to cross-reference it with this Excel spreadsheet, and that is going to be who wins today's gift. So what is our first gift? Let me see here. First things first. I think that we should give away Austin's book. Austin's been waiting a week to do this. He just wrote this awesome co-authorship. 12 amazing authors put this book together. And tomorrow, by the way, he's doing a flash sale on his book, on the ebook, if you want to get the ebook as well. But I'm going to be sending you the hard copy right now. So let's see who our amazing winner is. Let me bring this back up. Bam. All right. So who is ready for the spin-a-rooney? I need some thumbs up, some hearts, some people. Let me know in the comments that you are ready to go for your giveaway. Chris, are you ready?
I'm always ready.
I love it. All right, so let's do this thing. Ready? Who's it going to be? Number 17, we have a winner. Let's see who it is. All right, number 17. Let me pull up my Excel spreadsheet. Number 17 is right down here. Miss Paula Miller. Paula, you are a winner today. So, Paula, you are going to be getting a copy of Austin's book, Flashpoint. I'll be sending that over to you. You're going to be receiving a message from me very, very soon. But on that note, we got giveaway number 2. Chris, what are you giving away again? Remind us.
Yep. So I'm going to give away both books. Okay. The Private Money Guide. I'm going to give away Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. I'm going to throw in, I don't know what I got here, $300 bills. And
nice.
Didn't say they were real, but then I'm going to give a brochure. And it's not even a brochure. It's a magazine, actually. So I'm going to give you my magazine. And it's got some really great stories and motivational stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we got a magazine, we got 2 books, we got $300 bills. We're not sure if they're real or not. We'll see when they come.
The mystery.
That's the millionaire mystery right there.
That's for sure.
What we're talking about. So let's spin this wheel and see who we have for a winner today. So let's close that. Let's do it again. Ready? 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 Here we go. Who's it going to be? Number 15, we have a winner. All right. Let me pull this up real quick. See who we got. Number 15 is Mr. Andrew Ibrahim. You are a winner, Andrew. You got all kinds of books, money, all kinds of amazing stuff coming your way, Andrew. Dude, I'm super excited. The other cool thing is Andrew is local, so I actually won't have to ship it to him.
Nice.
Which is super cool. I love that. All right, and then finally, last but not least, we have 1 month inside of my mastermind. Who is it going to be? Getting to sit down with us at the table, bringing your questions, whatever it is you have, bringing it to the table so we can help you create financial fulfillment in your life. Let's bring up that spinner one last time. Are we ready? Chris, are you ready?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Who's it going to be? Let's see. Number 3, we have a winner. All right, who is number 3? Number 3 is Natalie Sandone. You are our winner for the evening. Natalie, welcome to the Make Money and Have Fun Mastermind. I'm super excited to have you. It's actually funny because Natalie and I have been friends for a while, and she actually hasn't won any of my giveaways. So this is your first one, Natalie. I'm super excited to have you. You're going to be getting a text message from me very soon. And to everybody who won our gifts, awesome stuff. Chris, shoot me over that stuff whenever you're ready.
Absolutely.
Dude, this has been awesome stuff, man. This is so, so cool. On that note, I think it's time to say goodbye to everybody out there. I love it. See you guys. Thanks so much for being here. This has been awesome stuff, and we will see you again next week on another episode of the Make Money and Have Fun show. See you guys.